I'm ready when you guys are.
Welcome everybody to a special live. Kim and I normally never, the two of us, do a Monday live. I do the one Be My Own Boss podcast, but we decided this is when it worked for all of us, and we wanted to have Bryant on. You guys know that we've been pushing safety, and even DoorDash themselves on their website last week put that it's safety month. Who'd have known? Who'd have known? Because I didn't know. I didn't know there was a safety month. But if it happens to be, great. Maybe they watch our program. Who knows? But now it is safety month, and it just fits with what we've been doing with these guys. And we've been telling you, file their stuff away. We've been telling you, make sure that, hopefully you don't need to call them. And that is the truth. Hopefully you're not going to ever need to call them. But in a situation, sometimes you're going to get scrambled and you might make a wrong decision on what the first play is. For me, for Kim, we've talked it through even off the camera. Our first play would be to call a legal rideshare because they're going to steer us in the right direction. If nothing else, they're going to at least help us kind of level the ship before making calls and being out of order. And maybe I'm saying that wrong, but today I'm joined by obviously Kim's Side Money Plans, my co-host, and we are joined luckily today by the CEO and founder of Legal Rideshare, who we've been talking a lot about. And so, Bryant, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. It's really great to be here. I really enjoy us working together, and I'm excited to talk to the audience today.
Yeah. And guys, I mean, if you got questions, put them in there because I know that you guys have been watching the reaction videos that Kim and I have been doing. Kim and I have never done those, and these have been so fun. Like these guys are liking them. We're loving them. So hopefully, you guys are all, everybody's out there. And if you are watching this on the replay, also leave comments in here or go catch it on Legal Rideshare. That's how their handle is simple. YouTube.com/@LegalRideshare. We'll take you there, and you'll be able to find this stream too because he is live streaming it over there. So, and we want to get you guys subscribed. They are over 500 now, and more people should be watching this channel because Kim and I talk about it all the time. Their topics are great, and we feel like we bring a little more out of it too. But they also enlighten us in so many ways, and I know they've been helping with a lot of you guys. So, hi to everybody in the chat, and we'll go through some questions. But also, while I give you guys a few minutes to get them in there, I did want to say that. So, not only do you do the free consultation for anybody injured, and is there anything, Bryant, that we should take off the table because I didn't even know you had the Amazon injury site until you said it in that one episode that it was separate. So is there a Walmart Spark? Are there any that you don't work with? Because the name Legal Rideshare implies just that, but I know that anybody injured working gig app platform work, you're going to talk to.
That's right. So we really concentrate on the gig economy. When we started about a decade ago, it was just kind of rideshare. That was all that was there. That's where the name came from. But we have been expanding with the companies. When we were founded back in 2016, Uber and Lyft were kind of just coming into a lot of markets, and we were following them and following the customers that they were serving, their employees, their workers. And then as Uber Eats started and as Amazon was really starting to get into the gig world, we have just broadened our scope, and we are excited and happy to serve everybody who's in this world.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think a lot of, one thing that already is up here is Thomas Mathis is saying, this morning I had a dog run in, but got away. Customer said, don't worry. These are way more common than I thought. Even I have a friend who is still recovering at home from 3 months ago, being ripped apart. I don't know where that boundary lies or whatnot, but I would assume that if you're ordering food to your house, it involves going into a fenced area and there's a dog in there that bites you. I'm assuming that you are completely on the hook. And
yeah, well, the way that these often play out is their home insurance claims. So if you're inviting a delivery worker onto your property, they are there legally, that you're allowing them to come onto your property. You have a responsibility to make sure that your dog is under control. If you've got a dog who has violent propensity, that you have to tie the dog up, put them into a separate room. You can't put the public at risk. And these delivery workers, we're seeing time and time again, are being attacked and are being severely injured. It falls on the homeowner, the dog owner, to ensure that they, one, are keeping the dog away, and two, that, if there's an injury, that they're properly insured, because, certainly that injured person has the right to file that claim and is entitled to damages.
See, to me, that's a peace of mind because I think it was Saturday night, I was delivering, and the leave at door notes for DoorDash was something to the effect, don't quote me word for word, but two dogs will be outside. They're friendly, but if you're afraid, honk your horn and I'll come get them. And I'm like, how, as a homeowner, are you taking liability for these dogs just to randomly be outside, knowing you're getting a delivery? And there are drivers out there that are deathly afraid of dogs. I love dogs, but there are drivers that are afraid of dogs, and you're just like randomly, oh, here are my dogs, have fun.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. I love dogs too, but I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm walking on to somebody else's property and there's unknown dogs roaming. Yeah, we don't know what those dogs' personalities are. We don't know what sets them off. We don't know if there was somebody who came over an hour earlier that riled them up. Like, there's so many unknowns that if you are going to bring people onto your property, you need to make sure that you're taking personal responsibility. And that means controlling the animals that are on site.
Yeah. So Thomas has a question. Free consultation means question mark, just for clarification.
That's a great question. So free consultation means if you were involved in an accident, if you're injured on the job, you can call up LegalRideshare. We will answer the phone. I will answer the phone and talk to you about your case. That means we talk about the insurance that's available to you, what your options are, how to set a foundation for a solid claim, when to go see a doctor, how to talk to the police, how are you going to pay for these medical bills, what are your options in terms of insurance through the company, insurance through the person that caused the accident, is there occupational hazard coverage that you want to look into. We're going to talk about all the different facets of the case, of making sure that you do what you need to do to ensure that you're protecting yourself, because there are lots of loopholes in these things. There are pitfalls that people can find themselves in where they don't report the accident the right way, or they say the wrong thing when they're talking to the police. And all of a sudden, what was once a viable claim is a much more difficult claim. So when I say consultation, I mean, we're going to talk about the facts of your case, and we're going to set you up either to work directly with us or to make sure that you have the information that you need to help yourself or find the right contact, depending on what the situation may be.
So when you say, okay, when you say work with you, if I'm right, you have to pass the bar in every state you want to work in. Is that right to say?
Correct. So if we're going to be filing lawsuits, you need to have a law license in that state. You can call us from any state in the country, and we can walk you through what the claim looks like. Sometimes we're able to help you out with handling the claim just on that initial insurance level.
And that's what I was that's what I was really getting at is it that most of the time you can help a person in another state, because if you're not going to court, you can at least, you've been through it enough to go, we got this. I know what to say to get this put to sleep.
Exactly. So we talk drivers through their insurance claims and make sure that they understand how to handle that insurance claim. There are cases where I can see them from the very beginning. This is probably a case that's going to go into litigation. This is something that you need somebody boots on the ground who's going to be able to do an investigation, maybe immediately file a lawsuit. That can happen in many different types of cases. What we're so skilled and connected at right now is we've got a foundation of people around the country that if we can't handle your case from where we are, we know exactly who to send you to. We know who is specialized in the rideshare world, who has experience with these types of claims. So I always tell people, I'm going to tell you right away, either I can help you or I'm going to point you in the right direction of who can.
Yeah. Because I was wondering, I'm guessing a lot of these at this point, because again, I need to point out to everybody, these guys have been around I'm not calling them dinosaurs because they're not. Obviously, Brian's younger than me, but I've known Bryant and Jared for a long time now, and they've been in this space a lot longer than most. I see other law firms that I know in Denver now saying we handle rideshare, and I'm like, yeah, as of like the last year, and I don't know what to really make of that. So my advice is, if you're injured in Denver, is as weird as it might sound, I would still call you, because you guys have actually been doing this and this type of law. I feel like a lot of people are now saying, well, there's a market there, so I'll just be a lawyer in that too.
Well, I think this is, I don't want to bore anybody, but I think this is an important time to talk a little bit about our history. So if I can just, take a couple seconds to do so. I had been an attorney, a personal injury attorney, for about 15 years now. And I started just doing general work. I started doing, regular car accidents, slips and falls, construction accidents, you name it. If you were injured doing whatever, I could help you. As I saw Uber and Lyft entering the Chicago market, it was about 2015 when I first noticed it. I started to actually put myself out there as somebody who was interested in this area of law. And I started connecting with the drivers. We started working together just in, kind of a consultation basis, where I wasn't handling the cases. I was just offering my insight into, well, this is how you should look into this insurance claim. This is how you should look into this. We start connecting. I create this Twitter account called LegalRideshare, and I start fielding all these different questions. And I realized there's so many workers out there who don't have any information, because the companies are not providing it, on how to handle a car accident, what to do with injured. So one thing leads to another, and all these different questions that I'm taking soon become cases. I soon start taking these on and really educating myself as to what the rideshare market looks like and how to help people specifically in this area. That was 2016 that we opened up shop. And ever since then, that has been our primary focus. So we see all these different law firms that are now, putting billboards up or ads on the side of buses saying car accident ? Rideshare accident ? These are people that are newcomers. These are people who are saying, oh, well, there's an opportunity here to make a buck. We're the first in the country to actually see this was a space that needed to be served, to educate ourselves in the area, and to really work with the communities. The driver communities that we've been a part of, the organizations that fight for drivers' rights, the individuals who do this, put it in their blood, sweat, and tears. We have been in that world for several years, and we know the ins and outs. So, I just think it's important for us to highlight that this is not something that we're just picking up on because we see there's an opportunity. This is something that we've really built a brand and a foundation on from the very beginning.
Oh, I know that. Like when I first met you guys, like 2018-ish, I was already referring drivers to you that were in other states, not my state, not your state. I was saying call these guys because I knew other people just didn't know. And like you were saying, people entering now, they might know what's going on currently, and that is what you need to know. But you actually know the history of how these companies have changed, and let's change this language, let's do this, let's do that. And I think that does, I think that does have a huge amount of value, because I don't know how well these companies like you or how well they treat you, but I would think they have a little more respect for you, just given the fact of when you send something, it's like, oh, it's the guys who have know what we're doing for years.
Right. Yeah. And I know the people on the other side. There's something to be said about that, where I can call them up and get answers in a way that somebody who doesn't have any experience in this world, they just can't do that.
Yeah.
And, we have been so ingrained in this community for so long now. I signed up to be an Uber driver about a year into founding LegalRideshare because I wanted to sit behind the wheel that my clients sat behind. I wanted to know when they told me that they're in pain, what that meant, because somebody else might say, you're sitting behind a wheel. How does that affect you? Well, I know that sitting behind the wheel for 8 hours a day and having to get out of the car and help people with luggage, and we're driving around Chicago, there's bumpy roads, there's potholes, having some back pain, having some neck pain can become debilitating. And I wanted to understand that component of it. So I just we want to highlight that this is something that we really take seriously and something that we're honored to be a part of.
Okay, so now I need to know, how was your experience driving Uber?
Well, I enjoyed it. I found it much harder than I expected. I was confused oftentimes by the map. I kept stopping the car about a block before I was supposed to, before the destination. But I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed kind of that every ride was different. I thought that it was really an interesting opportunity. But I will tell you that I have so much more respect for drivers now that I've been in that seat than I ever could have imagined before. I didn't understand everything that went into it, and I didn't understand how difficult it is to, read the room, to know, does this person want to talk, or am I annoying this person by trying to engage in conversation? Oh my gosh, I got to watch the car in front of me. I got to watch the app. There's just so many things going on at once that I really have it's not newfound anymore, because that was 8 years ago that I did it, but just a learned respect, because it's so much different than people really realize it to be.
I think you need to add DoorDash to your next mix.
No, you know what? I think that's a whole different experience, going up to people and knocking on people's doors. It's different in its own right, and it probably is something I should get going.
I'm telling you, I wish I would have known you guys like years ago. Like, I was doing a delivery, and there was like, you couldn't see a side. It was late at night, no lights on, and there was a step up that you couldn't see because it was pitch black. And I went literally face planting into the ground, and I hurt my finger pretty badly. And I'm like, I wish I would have known this like years ago when it happened, when I first started doing DoorDash. And I'm like, man, what I would have known now, what I had known, earlier.
I got that exact case going on right now. A woman was delivering for Uber Eats. A brick was loose on a step. She fell. She has really serious injuries. And we're in court right now on it. So you can get hurt a million different ways doing this job. And what's important to understand is there is recourse. You can get those medical bills paid. You can be paid for your time off. The pain and suffering, the loss of normal life, these are all things that are compensable. You just have to know how to bring the claim and how to protect yourself from the very beginning, because these claims don't get better with time. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be successful.
So speaking of, question, how much does it really hurt if someone waits to call you?
So the best thing that I can say is it never helps. It's going to be case by case how much it hurts, but
it's putting off people. You're just putting something off.
And that's it. You're not helping yourself. So what benefit is there to waiting? The case isn't going to get better. It's not like the witnesses are going to remember things better a couple months from now. It's not like evidence is going to be preserved at the scene better a couple months from now. The insurance company is going to be more skeptical if you wait longer. They're going to say, well, why are we just finding out about this at this point in time? Your medical treatment, if you need it, isn't going to be what it could have been. So the best way for me to answer that question is that insurance companies are always looking for ways to either entirely get out of a claim or minimize the damages. So if you wait to make that claim, if you wait to get medical treatment, if you wait to collect evidence, you're giving the insurance company an out. And all that means is less money in your pocket to cover things like your medical bills and your lost wages. So the consultation, as we talked about, is free. Call me immediately. The best case scenario, I tell you, yeah, it sounds like you're doing everything perfect. You can handle this yourself. Good job. Worst case scenario for you is I say, no, you got to do X, Y, and Z. Let's correct this course right now so that you have the strongest case going forward.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how often this happens, but a couple of things I would hit on is that, for one, I don't know about in this space, but I do know that nobody should ever not talk to an attorney if you're being offered an amount of money.
Yeah.
Like if you're being offered a settlement and a sign off, there's a reason you're being offered that. You should always call an attorney. So
I'll give you an example. just about a month ago, I got a call from a client who said, hey, I was involved in an accident 2 days ago. I suffered some injuries. They offered me $1,500 to settle the case. They want me to sign. And I said, hold on a second here.
Whoa.
$1,500 for what you're describing. This is serious. You're going to need significant treatment. You can't, I don't care if you hire me or don't hire me. You cannot sign that piece of paper. That's crazy. You need to wait until you figure out exactly what kind of treatment you're going to need, what kind of losses you're looking like you've endured. Here we are now. We resolved the case for $50,000. So he was going to sign a piece of paper, waiving his rights to file these claims and miss out on what he was rightfully entitled to.
And then so I was looking at this earlier, and I just had to bring this up. There's a bunch of points if you go to legalrideshare.com, guys, I mean, the website's very self-descriptive, but there's a part that says download driver checklist, and it's checklist for handling an accident. And at the very bottom, it says contact LegalRideshare, but that is for the free consultation. But that actually is, all the parts above it are just the accident itself. It's the second one down that I just want to make sure that people are okay with, because you all know Kim and I we are always going to be honest. We only align with people, things we agree with. But I already know this, but I want to make sure other people know it too, that, call the police when there's an accident. But the second one you have is be polite, but never admit fault or apologize. And I think it's important that people hear that, because sometimes they might know it's their fault, but can you speak on that it's very important that you don't say it?
Sure. So in an accident and injury claim, fault is not always black and white. There can be multiple people at fault for an occurrence. We have had cases where on first blush, it looks like the person that called us was responsible. We get a little bit more information. We talk to the passenger. We are able to obtain video of the occurrence, and we see, well, actually, there was a lot more going on here. And we can turn, and we're not doing it nefariously, we can turn what appears to be an at-fault accident into a not at-fault accident. So fault is really for the lawyers and the insurance companies to decide. It's not for the claimants. Let the case play out. Make sure that all of the evidence and facts are gathered, and then we can have a conversation about fault. Sometimes the Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, whatever driver is at fault, and that happens. We're all human. We all make mistakes on the road, but don't be quick to admit that you're responsible, because if that goes in the police report, if there's body-worn camera from the officer, if there is a recording that the other driver takes on his or her cell phone, in which you're saying, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, I did that, it's going to be very difficult for us to walk that back and use the evidence to show that, well, actually, this person wasn't at fault, or maybe it's closer to 50-50. And when it's closer to 50-50, we've got an argument to make on your behalf.
Well, and that's what I wanted to add to too, is that somebody might seem very nice in the moment, but you don't know what might come about the next day from that person. Where, oh my gosh, this was my fault, I'm really sorry about that. Oh, no worries, don't worry about it. We'll get all this taken care of. But the next day you might get broke all kinds of bones or something, or she's saying this, and this, and, might be because you admitted fault. And so I guess the real thing is what is the best way to avoid saying that in the moment?
Yeah. So there's really no reason to have a conversation with the other person involved in the accident other than the human communication. Are you okay? This is, can I call an ambulance for you? Is there anything that I can do to help? Those are all reasonable things to say at the scene. And it makes sense. We're all human beings just trying to get through a difficult situation. Saying, I'm sorry for causing the accident, or I caused the accident, or I don't know what I was doing. Those are all things that don't need to be said. They're superfluous and they just don't help anything. When the police come, you can tell them what you perceived to be the case, what you thought, what you saw, what you did. But you still don't need to say, I caused the accident. I'm the one who did it. Like, just tell them the basic facts. Talk in very straightforward, short sentences. This is what happened. And only say that to the police. You don't need to say anything of that nature to the other person.
Yeah, I was telling Kim, she was surprised by this, but I know other states do it too, that here in Colorado, if you get in an accident and you call 911, they're like, is anybody dead? No? Well, then get off the road and just exchange information. We're busy. Like, they'll
I've
hang
never
up on
heard of
you.
that. In New Jersey, like they were like, at least by me, they were like, you can't leave the scene of an accident unless some like an officer gets to the scene or gets there to file a report. It baffled my brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with us, just get the others information. There's a website you go to. You
That's
put in your
crazy to
information.
me.
And
It does vary state by state. We always recommend that you make a report if they're willing to do it. Sometimes, like in Chicago, they will come to the scene if they're able. And if nobody's injured, sometimes they'll say, why don't you guys both go to the nearest precinct and make the report there? I know that it hurts your night out. I know that it makes it so that you can't make as much money that night as you were planning on. But getting that documentation is important if you can, because it preserves information and evidence. You have the other person's contact information, then you know their insurance information. If there's witnesses, that's gathered. If the officers do come to the scene, a lot of times they will have body-worn camera. We've had cases that have been made by the body-worn camera that shows the scene, that shows the positioning of the vehicles, that shows the property damage as it occurred right there. So there's very valuable evidence, and I think you're only hurting yourself if you don't try to preserve it, if the officers are willing.
Now, I have a question because I got this comment the other day. I forget where it came from. But anyway, they said that they feared calling lawyers because of retaliation from like DoorDash or Uber. Like, should any driver like fear calling you because of retaliation from like DoorDash or Uber or any of these companies?
The short answer is no. So we have not had any situations where a driver has been deactivated or retaliated against for filing an insurance claim. The insurance is there to protect you. That's the reason it exists. So if you're not able to access it, then what's it there for? Our experience is that the insurance claim and the deactivation or retaliation or whatever it is are two separate things. The companies look at safe driving records. They want to know, do we have a safe driver on the platform? You are not getting deactivated because you filed an insurance claim. If you were to get deactivated, it would be because you got multiple accidents or multiple safety violations or exercising your rights and trying to collect money that you're entitled to through their insurance. You're not calling up Uber, you're not calling up Lyft and saying, give me money. You're going through their insurance companies, and they're totally separate, totally distinct. You have nothing to worry about in terms of, one, a consultation. That they're never even going to find out about that. And two, if you do file a claim, it's only trying to collect what you are rightfully entitled to.
I would even go as far as to say, if that did happen, Uber, Lyft are smart enough. They know that, well, now there's going to be a new lawsuit because that guy's going to sue me for deactivating him during a time of he was hurt, and he was hurt while driving on our platform. And to me, it seems like they shouldn't want to fight that.
Yeah, they're going to they take different stances on deactivation generally. As we know, the drivers are not employees; they're independent contractors. So Uber and Lyft can deactivate. That's the bottom line. They can, but it is our experience that accident and injury claims have nothing to do with deactivation. I have not one time had a driver get deactivated because they pursued legal counsel or filed an insurance claim. It has not happened.
I mean, that's good to know. So I know a lot of people are driving. I was seeing up there in the numbers that we got up there pretty high. I know that a lot of you can't type. I know that because I usually am working these hours as well. And Kim is as well. And if we were driving, we couldn't type.
I'm always working.
But if you're watching this on the replay, please leave a comment. And again, this was live streamed to the Legal Rideshare channel. So if you're recently subscribed over there, go over and leave the comments there. Otherwise, we will keep getting them out to them. Bryant, what else can you tell us while we're here today on anything else that people should know, because we're trying, like I said before, we're trying to get out there the companies we believe in, people that we believe in. And I've known you guys for a long time. I've known you to be genuine people. You've helped a lot of people. And I've said this before, but I'm going to real quickly make the mention, because during the pandemic, probably many of you won't remember this, but there was a thing, if you were an Uber or Lyft driver and you got COVID, they were going to pay you so much money for a week or 5 days or something. And it wasn't a lot, but it was something to let you be off the hook if you did. They were fighting every one of those, and people I knew that were getting it were not getting that money. And I remember that you guys did a drive and literally were almost picking up the tab for them.
Yeah. We that was something that was really important to us. Is drivers in this time were critical. They were some of the only people who were working at the time. They were getting people from point A to point B, and they were getting sick. I mean, there was no question that drivers were an exposed and heightened risk. So when the inevitable happened and they were infected with COVID and unable to work, we wanted to make sure that drivers had the resources to, one, get better, two, keep a roof over their head, and three, then eventually get back to their jobs. So when we saw that Uber and Lyft were not taking these claims seriously, were not honoring the promises that they made, we said, we're going to step up. We're going to be there. And we were calling it a sick day program. So we were, if you could show to us that you were infected with COVID at the time, we were sending out $500 checks to make sure that at least you could get by for a period of time to get better. And it's something that we're proud of. It's something that, we felt compelled to do given our position in the rideshare community. And as I said before, this is not something that we just took on just because it's a business model. We are a part of this community, and we felt like it was really important to act like it.
I was just, not only was I obviously impressed with you guys, and I already knew you, but how impressed I was by that. I was sickened by what these companies weren't doing, that they were putting out the PR that they were doing too. Like, look at all this great things we're doing for the drivers if they catch COVID. But then we knew of all these people who were getting it, and we're just hitting red tape and getting nowhere, and you were helping them. I just find that it's awesome that you guys did. I found it pretty messed up that the companies were trying to fight every one of these when, like you just said, nobody's questioning that you had COVID.
Right. Everybody
had COVID then.
Right. And we all know how the drivers got it, because there were strangers getting in and out of their cars, because a lot of times the states were not providing unemployment at the time for independent contractors. So it was a really tough situation for the entire country, but it especially hit the rideshare and gig work community especially hard. And I'm glad we're past that time, but I'm also proud that we were able to step up and help anybody who needed it during that horrible time that we call 2020 and shortly thereafter.
And that's why I wanted to say it, is that you are part of the community then. Like, you literally are part of our community. I've been talking about you guys. I've had you on the podcast, and people know about you, and we're making sure that even more people, make sure you guys, we've been saying it every Friday, save their information into your phone. Yeah. The website, the name, whatever, do the survey that they are. I did the survey. The survey takes under 1 minute, you guys. It's
super easy.
It's not in depth. It's something that helps them, and they're doing and they're going to give away $100 to somebody who does it. And I'm not sure when that is, by the way. We didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it's about a month from now that we're going to wrap it up. But the reason why we're doing this survey is we want to get to know the community better. We want to know how to reach you, how to best share information. We're trying to ingrain ourselves every way that we can, and that's the purpose of the what is it, like 8 questions, I think that
and they're very general. It's not trying to get you to talk about Uber or Lyft. It's, have you been hurt in a rideshare? Have you been? They're just very general questions. They're not company specific or anything. So there's no harm, no foul, and you guys can win $100. It makes no sense. And Kim and I don't know this, but we said it last week, potentially put you in a better place if you do ever need them, because you're already in their database now. So.
But my goal, I'm going to say my goal for you guys is to get more acclimated, or your voice and your brand out to even like more communities, like the DoorDash community and the Uber Eats community. And I know you're very well known in the rideshare, but every time like I talk about legal rideshare and they're like, really? I'm like, yes. Like I want people to get excited that they have someone on their side in case something happens. You never know what's going to happen while we're out delivering or riding or whatever delivery we decide to do.
That's the thing. We always tell people it's unfortunately just a math problem. It's not if, it's when. The more time you're on the road, the more likely it is that something's going to go wrong. And it's just nice to know that you've got somebody on your side right away. Just call us, let us talk you through it. Let's talk about the best ways to protect yourself. Make sure that you've got that solid foundation. And ultimately, the goal is to get you back on your feet as quickly as possible. And for any time that you miss, whether it's due to injury or property damage or whatever it may be, we want to make sure that you're compensated for it. So let us fight for you. And that's ultimately what it comes down to.
What do you say, just real quick, to those drivers out there who don't want to go to the hospital or to the doctors once they get hurt because they can't afford to go or they can't afford to take the time off? What do you say to those drivers? Like, do you say your life is a little bit more important than not going? What do you say to those drivers?
No, it's a great question because it's something that we get asked all the time. First of all, that's the reason why these insurance claims exist, is to get those bills paid for. So if you are injured in an accident, you're going to get those bills paid for because we're going to fight to make sure that they get paid for. There's also doctors in every community who are willing to see people who have been involved in accidents and have auto insurance claims on what we call a lien basis, meaning they're not being charged out of pocket. They don't need health insurance. They know that because there's the insurance claim going along at the same time, that they can provide those services up front. The driver can get healthy. And then when the auto accident claim is settled, the doctor will get paid from there. So cost should really not be an issue in terms of those initial medical appointments. And the second thing is, if you're hurt, timing is of the essence for the medical care. Just waiting around for the injury to heal itself is not a good plan of attack. Sometimes you need an x-ray to make sure that there's not a broken bone. Sometimes you need physical therapy to make sure that those tendons are healing and strengthening the right way. As Steve mentioned earlier, you're just kind of delaying for the sake of delaying. Eventually you're going to need it. So you might as well get that initial checkup, make sure that you get the diagnoses, make sure that you get the treatment plan. Best case scenario, you just need that one day, you get checked out, the doctor says you're fine, go be on your way, great. Worst case scenario, you need a lot more treatment, but that's exactly why you go sooner than later, because we want to be able to collect the cost of that treatment for you down the road. If you wait, the insurance company is going to fight, they're going to claw, they're going to do everything they can to say he wasn't hurt, he didn't go to the doctor, we're not paying those medical bills. So you're just making a weaker claim for yourself for treatment that you certainly need.
Yeah. So, and then you got, and I would even say this, I'm living in Colorado, doing backcountry, doing search and rescue. I happen to know a lot of people who like were lacking insurance one year or whatever, and now they've got it again, but maybe they've had like 5-6 broken bones. It's kind of common amongst many of us Colorado people.
But you break bones a lot over there.
But sometimes they break something, maybe not like something like an arm or a shoulder, but they break something and it doesn't heal right, but it heals, but it doesn't heal right. And they're like, oh man, I wish I had medical insurance when my thumb had broke. Like, and it's so you, like Brian said, you'll heal, but are you healing correctly? And even if you don't have medical insurance, it should be paid for.
And a lot of these injuries, like the vast majority of these car accident claims, are whiplash or sprain strain, and it doesn't really take that much time for them to resolve if you do it the right way. So trying to be a hero and trying to delay the care that you need, it doesn't help you medically, and it certainly doesn't help your insurance claim.
And so I guess the last thing I would end with is, because we just didn't say it, but I think everybody's kind of already come to this conclusion that if you do the free consultation with you guys, if you recommend to them, hey, don't sign that, we can do a lot more for you, and they go with you, they don't pay anything until there's a win.
That's right. There is no out-of-pocket cost to work with Legal Rideshare. We work entirely on a contingency basis, meaning we're only paid if we're successful, and the payment comes from the settlement. So we're never asking you for a retainer check. We're never asking you for out-of-pocket expenses. Like, we're fronting all of that. We're working for free until the case ends. And if for some reason there's not a successful result, you owe nothing. That doesn't happen. But if we're not able to collect, there's no legal bill. If we're successful, then the money comes out of the settlement, and it's a win-win for everybody. All of our motivations are aligned. We're trying to do the best job that we can for you.
Right. I mean, clearly you need to get paid, but I like that. I mean, I know that I think that many of us think, well, some lawyers do that, some don't. Well, I mean, in this space, again, we have somebody who knows the law very well in this space. They're going to give you a free consultation. They'll tell you if you're in another state, yeah, we can help you, or go to this guy, or you can handle this on your own. Sounds like you're doing good. He's going to give you the right advice. But then if he says, hey, we can take care of this, and it needs to be, just to put everybody's mind at risk. Again, there's nothing out of pocket. There's no money coming out of this. So don't avoid these calls, I guess is what I'm saying. I know people who get in little fender benders, look at their car, and they're like, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, my motto or my brand is kindness is always free. It's free to call Legal Rideshare, so just do it.
Yep. And before I let as Jared always says, we'll let Bryant have the last few words. But before we do, I do want to put this up because this, again, guys, take this. If nothing else, take a screenshot right now, because there's what you need. If anything happens, that's what you need. That's all you need. There's other ways to get it too, but there it is. But I'll be Jared since he's not here today, and I'll say, Bryant, we're going to give you the last word.
Well, thank you very much, Steve, not Jared. So we always remind everybody to reach out to us immediately. Consultations are free, as we've said about 1 million times today. You can find all of our contact information at LegalRideshare.com. You can call us, email us. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, or however you want to reach us, just do it, and we'll be there and point you in the right direction.
Good, sounds good to me.
Go subscribe to their channel. Everybody who's watching, go subscribe to their channel.
And in the description of Kim and my videos is everything you need. So if you guys want to go in there, you'll see the YouTube link. Go subscribe. I mean, they're getting big time now. They're over 500. So they're
be coming on my show.
They're right. They're YouTube players now. But thank you everybody for joining. I'm sure we will have a lot of people watching on the replay. Again, go to Legal Rideshare. I'll even put it in my description, like where you can leave comments. I'll make the top pinned comment. Hey, go watch it on their channel. Because then if you have questions while you're watching in real time, put it on their channels live so that you can say, hey, what about this or this or this, or just reach out to them. Again, don't feel, I guess my main message to everybody would be like, don't feel afraid to use their skills, because this is what Brian's trained for. This is what he's done. He knows it, and he knows it like we don't know it. So, and like he said, he knows some of the players, even like who we would consider the evil players. He knows how to work with them better than other people. So trust in that. If you have a skill set, somebody comes to you. This is his skill set, and you're not going to have to put out any money. But if something happens, even if it happens to you, if it happens to the passenger, if it happens to you while you're crossing a road, this is who you call. Don't just let things go. A lot of times people do just let things go. But you never know what might come down the road. So with that said, I want to thank Bryant for joining us. I know this is in the middle of a day for him too. So that was awesome. And thanks, Kim, as always. And thank you all for watching. And I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments on the replay. And Kim and I will be here for a reaction video too this Friday on their video. So we will be waiting on theirs to see what topics we'll be talking about. Until then, everybody have a great week. Be safe, earn smart, and
kindness is always free.
That's right.